Hello everyone, my name is Akif Nawaz, and in today's class we're going to talk about the literary titans Ben Jonson, Philip Sidney, and Edmund Spenser. So we have started our discussion about the history of English literature. So these are the prominent writers of Renaissance period. Let's talk about all of them one by one. So we'll not only be talking about their famous plays, their famous writings, and along with that, we'll also be talking about important terminologies that are associated with these particular writers. So the first one is Ben Jonson. Ben Jonson was a prominent dramatist and he was born in 1572 and died on 1637. So the first drama he wrote was Walpole in 1606. It's a satirical comedy about greed and corruption, often seen as one of his masterpieces. The central character is Walpole, pretends to be dying to trick wealthy friends into giving him gifts in hopes of inheriting his fortune. So that was the first one. The next one was The Alchemist, written in 1610, comedy that portrays con artists taking advantage of gullible people. And the next one is Every Man is in His Humor. It's one of the most prominent dramas of Ben Jonson, written in 1598. His writings include only two tragedies, Sejanus and Catiline. So both were written in 1603 and 1611 respectively. Now, things that are really important to know about Ben Jonson. Jonson also contributed significantly to the English masques, a form of festive courtly entertainment involving music, dancing, and elaborate costumes, which is performed by masked actors. So his contribution is the introduction of English masks when it comes to literature. The next one is Johnson's collaboration with famous architect Inigo Jones in the production of courtly masks was important. His combined drama with lavish spectacles, writing works such as The Mask of Blackness, written in 1605. So it's really important about Ben Jonson. His poetry, especially the epigram form, showcased his wit and mastery of language, evident in works like To Penshurst. The next one is Jonson was one of the leading dramatists of his time, second only to Shakespeare. So these are the things about Ben Jonson. Now let's move on to the next one. But before that, he was also the first poet laureate of England. The next one is Sir Philip Sidney from 1554 to 1586. Now, Sidney is considered one of the most important poets and critics of Elizabethan era, and Astrophil and Stella, written in 1591. A sonnet, it contains of sonnet of 108 sequence that explores unrequited love, marking one of the first works of its kind in English literature. It helped shape the English sonnet tradition. So this Astrophil and Stella was written in 108 sonnets, right? The next one is The Defense of Poesy, written in 1595. So a landmark literary criticism defending poetry as a noble art form. It had a significant impact on literary theory. So he was also a famous critic. So the Defense of Poesy is the prominent work when it comes to English literary theory. The next one is the Countess of Pembroke's Arcadia, written in 1593, a pastoral romance combining prose and poetry. It became one of the most widely read books of the 16th century. So the Countess of Pembroke's Arcadia is the most prominent and widely read books of the 16th century. Now, important things to know about Sir Philip Sidney. The first thing is he's remembered as the quintessential Renaissance man. Why? Because he was a courtier, a soldier, and poet. He's also considered as an ideal Elizabethan. The next one is Queen called him one of the jewels of her crown. Nice. The next one is mimesis. Sidney engages with the classical concept of mimesis, means imitation, in his defense of poesy. So this is the term highlighted and introduced by Sir Philip Sidney in criticism. The next one is The Defense of Poesy. reflect Platonic idealism, the belief in ideal forms that exist beyond reality. So, Platonic idealism is associated with Sir Philip Sidney. Now, sonnet sequence. Sidney's Astrophel and Stella is one of the first significant English sonnet sequence, a collection of interconnected sonnets typically centered around themes of love and emotional struggle. So, this was all about Sir Philip Sidney. Now, the next one is Edmund Spenser from 1552 to 1599. The first work of his is The Fairy Queen, the most prominent of all times. It's a complex allegorical epic dedicated to Queen Elizabeth I, written in six cantos. Six cantos means in six chapters that we use in novels. In poetry, we call them cantos. Okay, cantos or cantos depends on you how you pronounce it. Blending chivalric romance, politics, and moral instructions. Unique verse form known as Spenserian stanza. He came up with the idea of Spenserian stanza. The character of Gloriana, the fairy queen, symbolizes Queen Elizabeth, right? Now, the next one is The Shepherd's Calendar, a series of pastoral poems, 12 eclogues that help establish Spenser as a major poet of his time. Now, pastoral poems means poems that are associated with countryside and with shepherds and herdsmen, right? Now, the next one is that of Amoretti. Amoretti, written in 1595, a collection of sonnets addressed to his future wife, celebrating love and beauty, written in 89 sonnets. Now, important things to know about Edmund Spenser. So, that's another work of his, Epithalamion, written in 1595. Epithalamion is a lyrical poem celebrating Spenser's wedding day. The poem is divided into 24 stanzas, representing the 24 hours of the wedding day, and combines elements of mythology, nature, and Christian imagery. And these are the most famous hymns of all times in English literature. The next one is that Spenserian stanza. So, Edmund Spenser was the one who introduced Spenserian stanza. Now, what is a Spenserian stanza? Spenser invented a new verse form known as this stanza. For the Fairy Queen, this run line stanza consists of 8 lines of iambic pentameter followed by one Alexandrine, a 12 syllable line. So we can simply say that a Spenserian stanza is comprised of 9 lines, okay, and the first 8 lines are written in iambic pentameter, and the last ninth line is called as Alexandrine, and Alexandrine is a 12 syllable line. Now, he has also worked when it comes to English language, early English dialect. The calendar uses a variety of dialects, archaisms, and classical allusions. So he also contributed to English language as well, and he was interested in language too. Now, eclogues. An eclogue is a short pastoral poem, often in the form of a dialogue between shepherds. So these are the important things about all these prominent titans of all times. They have really improved when it comes to Elizabethan literature. So some of them were dramatists and some of them were poets of all time. So that's all from my side. If you have anything to add, anything to share in the comment section, so please share it. That's all from my side. See you in the next one. Allah Hafiz.